Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no... Wait a minute, I already did that. Alright. Hey everybody, my name is Joe and I'm a weapon of mass instruction. And been doing a little bit of thinking. Little bit of thinking. And today is a good day because I was able to help somebody out in need. He needed a ride. It was raining out, so I gave him a ride and, helped him out. But that's what it all comes down to, right? Helping people out. It's all good to be ready for yourself, but once you are ready for yourself, it's also important to help others that need to get ready. You know what I'm talking about. But it's funny too, because in about 3 hours maybe that I've been out and about, I talked to a bank teller who uses an analog watch. She could be considered a terrorist. The guy I picked up, gave him a lift to where he needed to go. He used an analog watch, and he could be considered a terrorist. And and then of course there's me. I'm a walking fucking time bomb according to the U.S. government because I know how to use guns. I own guns and ammo. I use, well, not a watch yet. I use cash. I have days worth of food stocked up in case there's an emergency. I'm being smart, so they think I could be a terrorist. No, don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. There may have been a terrorist threat once upon a time. I think probably more likely than not, if there was one, it would have been, due to people getting pissed off for being framed for somebody else's bullshit. Back about 10 years ago. 11 years now. And recently I saw a photograph of the Freedom Tower. Now, this is the funny thing. I don't know how the building number system for the World Trade Center worked before, but the new Freedom Tower is, its actual, official name is One World Trade Center. One World Trade Center. And if you look at the building, it's not your traditional square building. Every face of the building is a triangle. You've got a regular triangle, inverted triangle, regular, inverted, all around. I think there's 8 faces total. And this fucking thing is huge. They're maybe 2/3 of the way done with it. I'm not sure. Probably not even that, but it's already taller than the Empire State Building. It's taken them years and years to build, which is interesting. Years and years to build. It's supposed to be the most secure, the most secure office building in America. Security is great, but just because it sits on the side of the old World Trade Center doesn't mean it needs to be super duper secure. I think maybe they should be taking a look at the security of all these other buildings that are existing. Or else, why haven't the terrorists taken planes and blown those up either? Anyway, they're not done with it yet, but I have a sneaking suspicion. Oh yeah, it's also supposed to be one of the most, how did they word it? Sustainable buildings in America. Now everybody takes that to mean green, which is true. But it's also part of Agenda 21, one of those keywords you're supposed to look for. Environmentally sustainable, sustainable living, sustainable resources, sustainable this, that, and the other thing, and we could have gone with sustainable in the first place and never been in this mess that we are now. But I digress. The main thing I wanted to mention about One World Trade Center is that, now I haven't seen any schematics for it or any artist concept pictures of what it's supposed to look like when it's done, but I have a sneaking suspicion that there is going to be some sort of an emblem or symbol at the apex of all 4 of the regular triangles. Not the inverted ones, but the regular ones. The apex being at the tippy top point. The reason why I think that is the case is because we are already being inundated with it. It's all over the media. It's everywhere. That symbol. Can you guess what symbol I'm talking about? The triangle with an emblem near the top. I'll give you a hint. So, we'll see. It's supposed to be done in 2015, but the world's supposed to end this year, so what the fuck? Maybe we'll never know, or maybe the world won't end and we'll find out, or maybe the world is beginning to end as we know it, but we're not really going to see the effects until 2015, when the tower is complete and the world can see that it's got this all-seeing eye at the apex of every face. That would be freaking scary. I gotta look it up. I gotta find out if there's any concept drawings out there that are complete in every detail like that. But I don't know. I'm starting to ramble here. I feel like we're caught in a rocky area right here. There's no clear-cut way for us to go. The May Day riots started up yesterday in Seattle, and I'm starting to think that these aren't just people that are concerned. There's plenty of people there that are just regular people like you and me, but I have a feeling that these protests that became riots were paid for. And I think you know who I'm thinking of as the funder, the sponsor, or the benefactor, if you will, of this little endeavor. We already know that the executive branch of the U.S. government could declare martial law at any given minute. I'm about as ready as I'll ever be for that. Anything I don't have right now, if that shit hits the fan, then I'll have to scavenge where I go, but it's neither here nor there. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to instigate the ideal conditions to declare martial law and have us, we the sheeple of the United States of America, not bat an eyelash. We'll just continue on with business. We'll say, oh, martial law in that city and that city over there and that city, but it's a good thing they're not here. I live over here where everything's still peaceful, so I'm just going to keep on doing my job and, blah, blah, blah. Life is grand. Mark my words. Anybody who's not viewing this for the first time, who's not already a subscriber, you haven't already heard me rambling about the stuff I ramble about, mark my words. If you see martial law in any one city in the United States, and if you see Army or other military units stepping in any one city in the United States, it will happen everywhere. It will spread. It's going to start in that one city. It's going to move to the next city over, and they're going to secure their territory. This is standard military doctrine. You saw it in Iraq. They pushed in from the coastline out by, I believe, Basra. They pushed north straight to Baghdad. The Marines went poof, straight line up. They fucked up everything in sight. The Army guys went up around where there wasn't so much fighting, but all told, they were able to make it from the coastline to the capital city of Iraq in pretty much record time. Like, you do not see normal invasions occur like that. Normally you see them take coastal towns and outlying cities and then moving up. It's going to happen the exact same way here. That's what I was thinking about. It's standard military doctrine. The whole shock and awe thing that Bush wanted to talk about, he didn't come up with that. It's called sustaining the momentum. All right? You start, if you start and you just incrementally take positions, what's going to happen is, eventually the inhabitants of the invaded area are going to fortify against you. But if you strike directly to the heart of the threat, in this case Iraq was not directly a threat to us, but I think it was an exercise in how to properly do it here. If you push straight to the heart, take that out by exploiting the weakest route, the easiest route to get through and in. You take out their heart, and from there, the rest of their structure will break down. So we've got to think about where are the centers of the United States, not geographically, but economically. Communications, centers of population. It's not going to be outlying towns. They're going to go straight for New York, Chicago, Seattle, Los Angeles, Miami. I believe I actually made a point about this. There are 5 main cities that I've heard about. There have been sightings of Black Hawk and other military helicopters. Boston, Miami, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Seattle. Out of those 5, 4 of them lie on a coastline, and all 4 of them have a major international airport. So, if they strike and hit those 4 cities, that's a lot of people are going to be cut off from any escape from this trap. This closing bear trap. Now, city number 5, Chicago, the Windy City, is not on a coastline unless you count the Great Lakes, but that, doesn't really, it's not as big as the seaports. But it is also the home of a major international airport, I believe. I want to say LaGuardia, but no, that's New York, I think. I'll get to New York in a minute. Chicago does have that major airport. And also they have another quote-unquote legitimate excuse for having Black Hawks and other military helicopters running exercises up there. And that is because on the 20th of May, about that area of time, in a couple of weeks, there's going to be a NATO summit there. Perfect setup. They've got awesome security, and I'm sure everybody's heard about the mock evacuation drills that they've been running. It's not just in case. I'm pretty sure they're going to fucking evacuate the city. I'm pretty sure they're going to fucking evacuate the city. Just because they'll concoct some sort of terrorist threat, some sort of homegrown lone wolf domestic fucking lunatic. And you know what? It might be some guy who is actually going to be doing some sort of terrorist thing, or it might be some guy who is paid by the government and set up, or something of that nature, because that's what they're already known for. It's called a false flag event. If you don't already know what that means, look it up, even on Wikipedia, because good examples, and that's not my preferred method of reference here. So moving on, that's 5 major cities that can be taken out instantly, and that cuts out basically the heart of our transportation, our economic system, and 4-5 major population centers of the United States. If they evacuate them, move them all to FEMA camps, lock them down, whatever they got to do. Now, New York City, that's another big one. DC, that's another big one. Now, I don't think they're really going to have to worry about DC too much. They already have the Secret Service there. They already have a pretty big police force. I think they already have plans for that. All the alphabet agencies based there: FBI, CIA, NSA, DHS, DIA. All of them are based right there. So that's a lot of agents they can put on the ground immediately in order to lock down the area before they can move in other units to help out with that. New York City, I think they're keeping it on the down low. I haven't heard of any sightings of helicopters or military aircraft in New York City. However, you know, because of the fact that that was the site of the World Trade Center attacks, that was the most built up area afterwards in terms of security protocols. So it's not going to be as hard for them to lock it down. They're probably going to devote some National Guard troops to do that, as opposed to crack freaking special forces, which is what is indicated by seeing the Black Hawks, Little Birds, and other military type helicopters. Wow, you dumb fuck. No shit. How did you not realize that we have bad traffic in this area every goddamn day? Okay, sorry. Guy almost rear-ended me, and that would have been cool, because he couldn't figure out that we have bad traffic here. That's my idea. That's my theory as to the first, you could say the first phase of the implementation of a national police state, martial law. Time will tell. If they do start all this stuff up on May 20th or thereabouts, it's not going to give us a lot of time to prepare. Like I said, I'm about as ready as I'll ever be. There's some more gear I can pick up, but I can always grab it on the way. It's not essential right now. Have your bug out bags ready. Stay in tip-top shape with your shooting skills. You might need it. Learn what you can about survival. Water filtration. Water purification. Hunting, skinning, trapping, fishing, foraging. Learn what types of fruits and vegetables grow naturally in the wild in your area that you could eat safely without too much preparation. Stuff like that. Just things to think about. I do believe I'm running on, almost 20 minutes now. So I'm going to cut it off about here. You guys just keep your eyes peeled. I was really hoping that it would be on the London Olympics, so that at least it would be more of a worldwide thing, so that at least the rest of the world could hopefully see what's going on and could get some warning, because I know us truthers are not just here in the United States, we're all over the place. You know, if you hear anything about martial law actually being declared in any one of these cities, spread the fucking word. Spread the word. The thing is, they cannot lock down the entire United States all at once. Okay? My thing is, if all of us that know the truth, that nobody freaking takes us seriously, and they all think we're fucking nuts because we're not following along with, like sheep, if all of us that know the truth are congregated in one area, that's no good, because it'll be far easier for the government troops to take us out, simply because we could oppose the New World Order. At the same time, if we all stay put wherever we're at, keep in mind this: you're watching these videos on YouTube, you like any of these videos, guaranteed they have it flagged. Like I'm probably on somebody's list somewhere for being a possible dissenter or something like that, when all I really care about is our freedom and the Constitution of the United States, and upholding what is supposed to be the law of the land, and not just whatever they fucking say it's going to be. If we stay put, we'll get taken anyway. I think the trick is mobility. I have some friends that their idea is they've got, family-run farms and, bits of areas in the woods where they'll be able to stay put for a while, and that's all well and good, but eventually the lockdown's going to show up there too. I think the main idea is mobility here. Mobility. It's going to be hard if you've got loved ones that can't really get around too easily, but I think the key here is to stay mobile, to stay out of one area for too long. Don't use your GPS or your phones or anything like that. Once the shit hits the fan, none of that will be any good anyway. You know? If you do have to use it, only use it for short periods of time. Because they will track you even if the battery's in there but the phone is off. You know? If you have one of those newer phones where you can't take out the battery, kill it. Drain the battery. If there's still power, you could always refill it back on later. But if there's no power to run the phone, there's no power to run the tracking system. And you know what? If somebody's just listening, and it might sound like I'm acting like a fucking terrorist or something like that, but you know what? When it comes down to it, it's going to be my personal survival and the survival of my loved ones. It's not going to be like some sort of ideological thing. If let's call it the authority. If the authority's troops and zombified units try to detain me simply because I'm speaking my mind, simply because I'm spreading the truth, they can call me whatever the fuck they want. They would have anyway. Anyway, I am starting to ramble. I think I lost my point. So I'm definitely going to cut it off here. I'm trying to formulate a concrete plan for all of us truthers. The people that know the truth, the people that refuse to be sheeps and just be shepherded into the slaughterhouse. I'm trying to formulate a plan, something that we could act on when the time comes. And it's a matter of fortitude, personal fortitude, courage, honor. The government cannot promise us safety. They never have. They never will. The whole point of the Second Amendment is to defend ourselves from the government, if need be. But we've been born and bred, cradle to the grave, into believing that our legal rights to owning a firearm is what creates crazy people, or people that go out and murder. Those people have already existed. They always will exist. There's always going to be people like that in any society. No society is going to be perfect. You know, but the rest of us have been led to believe that guns are bad, that guns are evil, that guns create all this catastrophe and death and destruction. Well, that's the purpose of guns, yes. You know, you don't use a firearm to plant a garden. You use a firearm to kill somebody. But knowing when to and when not to is the key. I believe most of us do know when it is required of us and when it is prohibited. And I'm not saying prohibited as in when the government says it's prohibited. You know. If you're defending yourself, absolutely. If you're going out and trying to steal somebody's money, fuck no. Defensive self. Let me default back to the seven reasons for using lethal force. Defensive self or defensive others. Defensive property involving government property involving national security. Defensive government property not involving national security but inherently dangerous to others. You know what? I can't remember, but you know what? That was what they told me while I was still in the Marines, and a lot of it applied to like a battlefield situation. or if you're not sure about what your rules of engagement are, they never prohibited you from firing in self-defense, as in if somebody's shooting at you, shoot back. That's the whole point. And when it comes down to it, I'd rather shoot first. So if I see somebody with a weapon pointed at me before they even have a chance to fire a shot, I'm going to take cover and fire at them. That's the whole point. Defense of self, defense of others, protection of property, prevention of death or serious bodily harm. So if you see a police officer about to gun down an unarmed man and you have a chance to freaking save that guy's life, will it mark you as a criminal? Probably, because they don't like it when cops get shot. But if the cops are in the wrong and you're doing the right thing, then that's the right thing to do. And I've gone on for about 5 minutes too far, and I got to hit the road, so I'll cut it off there. Just think about what I've said. Try to formulate your own ideas. I'm here to give you what's in my head, but I'm more than open to hear what's in you guys' head. Anybody who's had comments, I try to comment back whenever possible, try to start a dialogue, and that's where ideas form. That's where progress is made, to where we're not just a whole bunch of black sheep in the white sheep freaking flock in the corner, bah, bah, and then following along with the herd, to where we're actually becoming something else and we're actually doing something. We've got a plan of action, and we need to work together to do this, to be free, to uphold our Constitution. To regain the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. My name is Joe, and I'm a weapon of mass instruction, still alive today.